diving straight into the plenary, and it's on industry perspectives on research and innovation in Africa. So this session will be showing you how Africa's ability to compete in the global knowledge economy hinges on developing a highly skilled workforce equipped to drive cutting-edge research, innovation, and industry transformation. We have experts from the AI and health sectors, and they'll be sharing their perspectives and expectations. And ACES, specializing in these areas, will offer reflections on how their centers are addressing the demand for advanced skills and research. It's my pleasure to welcome the moderator for this session, Director of Science, Technology at the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology in Zambia. Let's welcome Jane Chinkusu, our moderator.
Thank you very much, and welcome to everybody. Today is a happy day, and it's a rainy day in Accra. We are privileged to be here. So as a way of introducing my panelists, we are going to have two discussants and two experts who are going to give us a reflection of industrial perspective as we look at research and innovation in our centers of excellence. So the first discussant is Mr. John Baptiste Morogo. If he's around, he can come. Let's give a hand of applause. But just to introduce him, Mr. Morogo, who is Corporate Social Responsibility Leader for Africa and Middle East, IBM, has initiated across Africa and the Middle East, where he has focused on digital skilling, volunteerism, and sustainability with extensive experience in academia and innovation ecosystem. He has driven collaboration with the higher education institutions and ministries of education across the region. His efforts has led to the upskilling of over 50,000 students and faculties in emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, cloud computing, cybersecurity, and quantum computing. Prior to IBM, Mr. John was the founding manager of IBIS Africa and a faculty member of Strathmore University. Let's just give an applause for our expert. The second discussant is Mr. Loud Bessing. If he's around, he can come. Welcome. Dr. Loud Bessing is a biomedical specialist and scientist. He's also an entrepreneur and co-founder of Yamachi Biotech, a pioneering biotech company focused on cancer diagnostics and precision medicine for Africa populations. He has a strong track record in transitional research and is committed to leveraging cutting-edge technology in the health sector, including genomics, artificial intelligence, and immunology, to drive local relevant health innovations. At Yamachi, Dr. Bessing leads efforts to develop affordable, accurate diagnostic tools and build sustainable local manufacturing capacity in Africa. His work bridges research and entrepreneurship aiming to reduce health disparities and focus innovation ecosystem that can translate scientific discoveries and industrial transformation. Let's give us an applause for him and welcome. Later we'll have two discussants, but let me introduce them as they come to the front. The first one who's going to give a reflection from our centers is Professor Charles Ruranga from Center of Data Science. If he's around, he can come in front. This is from the University of Rwanda. So Professor Charles is an associate professor of Economic Metrics and Director of the Africa Center of Excellence in Data Science in the University of Rwanda. He holds a PhD in Statistics, Econometrics from the Makerere University and an MSc in Economics from University of Montreal and a BSc in Economics from National University of Rwanda. With over 19 years experience in academia, research, and project management, he has led major grants, including the experience that he's having at the Center of Data Management, Data Statistics, where he has been able to manage a grant of $4.5 million US. With IDRC project in artificial intelligence and COVID-19 data analytics, he also managed a project of 1.25 million. He's currently serving as president of the board of directors and legal representative of the Economic Policy Research Network, and is an active member and chair of several university committees. So let's just give an applause for Professor Charles. The last expert to give a reflection from our centers is Professor Gordon Awadara. If he's around, he can come. Prof is Pro-Vice Chancellor for the Academic and Student Affairs. Is he around? Professor Gordon? If he's around, then I'll introduce him as he comes around. But these are our experts who are going to help us discuss our session, which is around industrial perspective on research and innovation in Africa. The coordination will be done together with my panelists because we have limited time. So I'll ask all the panelists please to stick to time. For the discussant, we have 25 minutes in which you will address about 3 questions. And then for those who are giving a reflection, we will have about 20 minutes to give us a reflection around what is happening in our centers of excellence. So for now, let me invite Mr. John Baptiste to give us a reflection. And my first question to you is, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, your current role in the Middle East and Africa as leader at IBM, and in your role, how you perceive the availability of talent in Africa for the kinds of roles that IBM recruits for. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. First of all, I would say congratulations to the ACE Network on celebrating 10 years. It was wonderful to toast yesterday evening. From my perspective in IBM, so IBM, for those who might not know, is international technology company. This year, we're celebrating 114 years of the company's existence. So we're an old player in the technology space, and been at the forefront of innovating with technology. And in Africa, we've been in the business now maybe close to 80 years in different parts of the continent. We have presence in Egypt, in Kenya, in South Africa, and also through various partners in West Africa. And just to bring to your point about the skilling component, we have a research center, IBM Research Africa, which is based in Nairobi and in Johannesburg in South Africa, which I would put it because we are now in the 11th year of having the presence of IBM Research in Africa, which I would say was the first major industrial research center that set up on the continent. So over the years, we have developed some experience in working with different skills, and some of whom are coming from your centers in developing technology that powers a lot of the companies that are our clients. I'm part of the CSR team, so I lead our corporate social investment programs in Africa and the Middle East. So I work a lot with a lot of your institutions, a lot of the center leaders here, because within our corporate social investment program, we focus on 3 key elements. One is on education workforce development, under which our engagement with universities falls under. Another is on our volunteerism piece. So we have a staff base of about 280,000 employees globally. And one of the key things that is very unique about IBMers is that we are very keen at supporting and collaborating with partners, with institutions where we have a presence in. So we have a lot of IBMers that get involved in our activities, and many of which is working with colleagues in academia. And the final piece is we run a sustainability accelerator, which is a program that we support organizations that are doing work around climate change by providing grants, providing expertise and technology. On the area around skills development, for us now, I mean, for any technology company, right now the big thing is artificial intelligence. For IBM, you know, artificial intelligence is something that is big for us. Being a business-to-business company, what we do is provide these technologies to other organizations to help them drive their business. And then also what we call hybrid cloud and quantum computing. So these are the main focus areas for us as a business right now. Within the continent, we have a big thrust in terms of skills development. You all appreciate that technology is rapidly changing. And now in the age of artificial intelligence, you know, almost every other month you wake up and you see new news of new technologies and so on. So we are actively reaching out, and if possible to share later, we have different initiatives and programs that we collaborate with academia to fast track and to help make sure that you are at the forefront in terms of utilizing these technologies in your teaching, in your research, and also in your innovation activities. We do this primarily through free program that we provide to universities that helps build these skills, awareness, and then also hands-on skills, and providing guidance and mentorship with faculty members to make sure that you're also at the forefront and utilizing the technologies that industry is actually using. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for that introduction. But just kind of skills that we need, especially in the area of artificial intelligence.
Well, so apart from just providing the skills, we also make available the technologies. So remember the focus on making this technology available so that as you in academia are innovating and doing your research, you're leveraging on these solutions to enhance your work. I mean, basic item I would mention is, first of all, from our perspective, AI and other technologies are there to enhance what you do, okay? So to make you be more productive in the work that you are doing. If you look at it in the last few years, just things that would be very, that will relate very directly, we made available technologies like artificial intelligence, even during the time of COVID when we were trying to do some work with some institutions. So in South Africa, we collaborated with a number of partners, and we were helping to accelerate the discovery of certain solutions that some of those communities were facing during that time of COVID. So these are direct ways in which we can apply the technology to help enhance and make our research activities faster, our going to market more efficient, and also developing solutions that are really contextualized. So you have local researchers using the technology to develop local solutions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And maybe with the audience, would you share some of the strategies that you've maybe already used in your company to advance this skilling of the African continent so that we become more competitive as we help our industrialization?
Okay. So, this approach of developing talent we look at it from a very simple perspective. It will always be a funnel type of approach, meaning that at the top of the funnel, we'll be doing a lot of work around awareness training, skilling at, let's say, the introductory level, because majority of the population will be users of the technology. So we need to drive the appreciation, the knowledge about this technology so that they can begin utilizing it more. As we go further down to the funnel, we have the builders. So these are those innovators, those that will work more closely with the technology to start developing solutions. And then at the bottom of the funnel, we see a smaller group of individuals who would be advanced researchers and domain experts with that technology. So this is the approach that we have used over the years as we've been collaborating with institutions across the continent. So working with universities, working with various centers to develop that kind of capacity from users, builders, and then deep researchers. And we do this at scale because we are working across the continent with very many institutions to make sure that we can catalyze the use and the awareness of these technologies within this region. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now come to Dr. Anthony. For you, it's in the health sector. Maybe just also tell us about what you're currently doing and how you're helping the African continent to develop that high skill in the health sector for industrialization.
All right, so thank you very much. And my name is Lord Anthony Basing. I'm the founder of Incas Diagnostics. So at Incas Diagnostics, we develop and manufacture different kinds of diagnostics. So both in the health and agricultural space, we develop a point-of-care lateral flow test. So for instance, in the health space, in terms of women health, we have pregnancy tests, which is on the market. We have a 3-in-1 test for vaginal infections, for instance. We also have quite a new test that it's a 4-in-1 test that is able to detect HIV, malaria, syphilis, and then iron deficiency anemia on just one strip, which all of these are already on the market. We also have tests for drugs of abuse. We have tests for alcohol. And then we also have the infectious diseases, different kinds of infectious diseases. In the agricultural space, we have test for foot and mouth disease, mostly for small ruminants, so foot and mouth disease, anthrax, and then PPI and all of those ones. So that is basically what we do. But our main focus is on both R&D and manufacturing. So we have a very strong R&D unit where we do a lot of development. So currently we have 15 products already on the market, developed and commercialized. We have 9 products already in the pipeline, and we are developing them. We currently finished developing a test for Sudan 4. Sudan 4 is a contaminant that is basically used to adulterate palm oil to make it look redder, right? And the studies have shown that it's carcinogenic, and yet it's being sold in the public. The FDA in Ghana has been very strict on it, trying to get rid of it, but it's been difficult. So we've developed a test where you just touch the palm oil with it. If it turns black, it means there's Sudan 4. So these are some of the things we do quite regularly. When it comes to what we are doing to develop skills and all of that, there are 2 main skills that we actually need in the company. The first are the technical skills, and then the second are the soft skills. For the technical skills, you need people that have an intimate knowledge of whatever you are developing. So for instance, if you are developing an HIV test, you need somebody who knows HIV very well, knows the parts of the virus that are immunogenic so that we can use that to develop the test. You also need people who have the technical skill to be able to develop the test. Unfortunately, in Ghana, not even in Ghana, in Africa, there's no university that teaches people how to develop tests or even manufacture tests. And so we have to actually train them when they come. So we recruit people mostly based on the soft skill that they have and not the technical skills, because the technical skills, we provide that technical skills when they come into the company. And the most important soft skill is being able to think on your feet. That is extremely essential, because all the things that can go wrong in developing a test will go wrong when you start, right? And so if you just throw your hands in the air and then come and get somebody in the tanker department and say this thing is not working, then you are not right for the place. You need to be able to think and then be able to adapt and be able to experiment and reiterate and do all of those things. I always tell students that come to our place that developing test is boring, because you have to read a lot more than you have to do, because you have to read and get the knowledge to be able to adapt when there are issues. So those are some of the things we look out for. From our experience, what we usually do is that we try to encourage people to come to us for attachment and internships. Once you come for internships, we start looking at you, we conduct trainings and all of that. Then after school, you come and do a 1-year national service with us if you are interested. And then after that, we then recruit you. So we don't recruit people who have already finished school and then they are looking for jobs. And that is because, one, we try to train you from the start so that at the end of the day, you're able to have a skill that will fit into our place. Even if at the end of the day, you don't stay after your internship or after the national service, at least you would have learned a skill around that area. So that's how we do our recruitment. And that's how we try and add to the skill that young people have.
No, thank you very much for, I think, that process that you're doing to help skilling our people. But now, looking at you, you are a researcher, you are an entrepreneur. How do you think all these technologies that you're developing are helping the biotech in Africa?
Okay, all right. So first of all, there are quite a number of technologies that are currently in the system that can help the biotech industry. For instance, he spoke about artificial intelligence, for instance. And one of the major or the important components of developing diagnostics is biomarker discovery. Because to be able to develop a test that will be able to test for a particular thing, you need to be able to know what biomarker you need to test. I'll give an example. Right now, we are working on preeclampsia, being able to detect preeclampsia even before it happens. So you need to develop biomarkers of preeclampsia in urine. Now, this process would usually take a very long time and over certain years. But right now, with artificial intelligence, for instance, and with new technologies that are basically looking at genomics, for instance, they are looking at all the metabolomics and all of those new technologies that are coming. What is happening is that we have a lot of data that is being deposited into the system. And so with artificial intelligence, you can be able to run basically the data and be able to take out certain biomarkers that run through almost everybody that has that particular condition. And then with that, you can be able to narrow it down and be able to detect biomarkers. So instead of using maybe 5-10 years to develop a particular biomarker, you can actually be able to do that in less than a year with the right thing. And again, another example is that Yamachi Biotech, which presented yesterday, is talking about doing genomics in terms of cancer research across the country and even the continent. They are basically trying to sequence all of these data. Now, imagine you want to develop a diagnostic for cancer. With that data that is available, it is easy to run through with artificial intelligence to identify things that are common in almost everybody and be able to narrow it down and say, okay, this is a likely biomarker that we can use to develop diagnostics. And so these new technologies are going to enhance the biotech industry in Africa. Unfortunately, the biotech industry is a growing industry, but it is not there yet. There are still pieces and bits and pieces. We don't have a lot of companies that are doing biotech in Africa because barrier to entry is huge. It's expensive and all of that. So we don't have a lot of people. But we don't also have a lot of people with expertise to be able to do that. And that is where the universities come in. We need to train more people to be able to have that expertise, to be able to set up their own biotech firms or even join biotech firms that are currently available. And so these technologies are the ones that are going to basically cause the biotech industry to sprint and become very relevant in Africa.
Yeah. Just on that one, since we have a lot of our institutions, academia institutions in here, What advice then would you give to most of our institutions around developing these high-level skills that would need to run the biotech in Africa?
Yes, thank you. That's a very, very important question. And I think that the first thing is to collaborate with industry. And I'm not trying to preempt what Prof. Awandari would say, but we've collaborated a lot with WACPIP. And so a lot of the things I'm going to talk about is going to be from the WACPIP experience, right? Where the institutions will collaborate with industry, where the industry would come in and give talks to these students. Because these students, once they leave, they would either want to set up their own firms or they would want to go and work in these areas. So when you start the collaboration at the very beginning, when the students come into the school, you have industry come in and talk to the students. The students can ask all the relevant questions. It actually helps narrow what the students are going to study, because then they know what they need to expect when they go out there. So that is the first one, where you are going to have that industry collaboration. Another very important thing is for it to become mandatory for students to do attachments and internships and all of that. It's very important. Right now, students, most universities give students the chance to go and do that, but it is not mandatory. And so most students would rather go find money somewhere than to go and do all of these industrial attachments and internships. These build the students' interest in whether they would really even want to venture into the biotech industry, for instance. So once they do these industrial attachments, it helps build them to be able to do that. The second one is actually something that, again, WACPIP has started, that is putting together maybe MOUs with some of these industry partners, where the industry partners feed into the curriculum of some of these biotech institutions. Because, you see, the biotech space keeps changing. And so if you have a curriculum that is set in stone, and that curriculum is being taught for 5, 10, 15 years, then what you're going to end up with is people who are going to finish and they will not be relevant for the field, because the field has changed so much. And so when you have again, industry partners feeding into the curriculum that is change constantly. And those gray areas that are not changed, you have industry partners come to talk to the students. I think it helps a lot. I think the final one I'll talk about is when both the institution and then the industry partners collaborate and do research together. It's what it then does is that it helps people to be able to work together. It helps the industry partner to be able to see the relevance of the training that is being given to the students. It also helps the academics to realize that, okay, so industry partners also have a role to play, even in research. And that collaboration is very easy for students to transition from that being a student into the biotech space within a short time, and it helps grow the biotech space in Africa. It's really important because, as I said, we don't have a lot of biotech companies, and we really need biotech if we want to be self-sufficient in the health space and a lot of the things that we are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think you've brought the perspective of private sector playing a role into this academia. Maybe also from IBM, are we talking the same strategies, or do we have other strategies that we are using to involve private sector in the academic and development of our skills?
Yeah, absolutely, and thanks for just echoing some of the points that I had shared earlier. You know, one of the things I would say that enables, let's say, successful collaboration is having, let's say, alignment on the objectives and the process of each of the parties, right? Because, yes, private sector might have certain objectives through that kind of collaboration, and also certain processes that they go through to establish those collaborations. And similarly, from the academic point of view, from your institutions, you also have certain objectives and also processes that you need to adhere to set up those. So spending time, I think, to have alignment on that is something that is key. From my experience, there are several instances where we have worked with certain institutions maybe because of this misalignment, then we end up having some missed expectations or some mismatches in terms of that. And then you end up having hiccups within those kind of collaborations. I think everybody appreciates the value of or the potential of those kind of engagements. But then what happens is that when you begin forming it and you don't have that alignment, then you end up having some challenges. And then also an appreciation that it is a long game. It is not something that you'll just have the results of in 2-3 months, but you have to think of it from the long game. On the aspect of skills development, just to share some examples, when we were setting up the research center in Africa, identifying the right skills for some of the projects we were involved in took a bit of time. And for a while, we used to rely on some of our other centers globally to provide that talent. But we understood this and took it upon ourselves to actually invest in the talent development of local capacity to meet some of the work that we need to do. And we've done that. Over the years, we've now have a good number of researchers that are coming from our local institutions that are now staffing our research centers. But guess what? When we have sort of developed this pipeline, then other players come into the space and take that talent, right? But this is how it goes, and we just need to develop that and understand that. I mean, we're part of a bigger ecosystem. Or even, like he said, some of them see the opportunity, they go and set up their own establishments, which is fine, or find opportunities, go to other markets as well. But this is how it goes, and I think this is why the collaboration with academia is key, because we need to just churn out much more than we are, because just to satisfy all these different needs. The mentorship component, I think, is also critical, just to make sure that we have the doors open for, whether it is faculty members or students that are working on different projects to be able to work closely with industry. By the way, just something that came to mind yesterday is we actually collaborated with the ACE centers, some of the centers here in West Africa that we supported some of the students through internship programs, for example, that we work with. And then I think the focus on hands-on skills, I think, is something that is fairly critical and is now a premium. So yes, knowledge is good, but actual hands-on skills, from my point of view, on things like artificial intelligence. So we are increasingly seeing the need for deeper skills and hands-on skills on artificial intelligence, data modeling, and so on. Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you very much for those reflections. Now we go to our centers of excellence with the perspective that industry and our enterprises have talked about. I would want to come to Professor Charles. Tell us now how our center in data science is connecting with industry in order for us to develop these high-end skills that we are looking for Africa to move steps forward.
Yeah, thank you. As the moderator said, Charles Seruranga, Center Leader of African Center of Excellence in Data Science, University of Rwanda. The data science is interdisciplinary field where we have mathematical statistics, we have computer science, but all those techniques need to move to the business. Why are we using the data? Where we need to use the data using those techniques and be able to have the respond to the needs of the community, to support the industry and the different other sectors. Yeah, in the African Center of Excellence in Data Science, we are not only having the data set or analyze it, but we need to have that step to move to the actionable insights, guiding the business toward informed decisions. So that is and we use the different techniques. In the African Center of Excellence in Data Science, based on the experience we have, what has been done up to now in order to link it with the presenters from the industry. When the center started, there is the collaboration with industry and the different other institutions. We need to build that collaboration. And the collaboration has been used from the beginning when you are designing or developing the programs. So they need to be involved in order to establish program which respond to the needs of the industry. That was the initial step. After that, we have also regular review meeting of the program. The second part in that collaboration, when we design the program, especially for master's program, we have, apart from courses or modules, we have also industrial attachment, which is compulsory to all master's students. They need to go to the industry, work with them, identify the challenge they are facing. That challenge will be the work, because they need to have the project, the research project, which is based on the needs from the industry or the community. And this will be done in collaboration with the industry, but we have also the academic advice. The supervisors and others will be involved in that steps. So in addition to collaboration, we have also the second part of the many activities in the center is collaboration, collaborative research. The center can contact, or industry can contact the center and initiate a collaborative research. Yesterday I was sharing the one project on the learner analytics in education. So we have the data set for the student, from the nursery, primary, but many times the data set were not used to take the decision what kind of challenges they will be facing in the future. So we have the collaborative research initiated by the center in collaboration with different partners, and the research can be done, and the solution will be practical solution to be applied in that industry. The third, after the establishment of the center, we have started what we call the data-driven incubation hub in the center, which the main activity will be the mentorship. The researchers or even others who have innovative ideas can be hosted in the center. There is a program, kind of mentorship program in the center, where there will be a coach, the coaching program, but we can also organize the boot camp for specific areas. Third, the fourth one, we have the facilities, the research facilities. In the Center of Data Science, apart from computer labs and the working space and the rooms, we have also the high performance computer to support the student, not only student, even the researchers, even others from outside the university. They have that access. They can get the account if they have the data set. They want big data and they are not able to process using their computer, they can get the account on the high performance computer. Fifth, we have the capacity building. As I said, the main activity, we have masters and the PhD program, but we have also the short professional courses in different areas related to data science. As now, 13 PhD have already graduated. We have 140 for masters. And among those graduates, 25% are from outside Rwanda, from different countries, more than 10 countries. We have also a very good percentage, around 40 are female. So those are some of the statistics for the graduates. So this is in brief what have been done, linked to what has been presented to the industry, but the center we have many other short courses, public lecture where we invite the industry and the different other activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So in Rwanda, we are just confirming that our students are taking up those opportunities as IBM was presenting, going into industry, getting the attachments, so that at the end, those that we call as graduates are really skilled, the kind that we need for the industry. Maybe your comment on that, Prof.
Yes, yeah, that is they respond, it is linked to what I've said, and we do it in the center. There are still some challenges. Some industries think in that way, but we have others, they are not yet linked with the academic institutions. But that is the challenge. We are still working on them, and be linked with them to show what is really the contribution of research and innovation in the industry. I think that is one of the challenges from the industry, but the collaboration is already established.
Okay, thank you very much. And welcome Professor Gordon Awadera. Just in introducing you, let's welcome Professor Awadera, who is a Pro-Vice Chancellor for Academia and the founding director of West Africa Center of Cell Biology and Infectious Pathogens in Africa Center of Excellence. He is a leading biomedical scientist whose research focuses on the molecular and cellular biology of infectious diseases, particularly in malaria. Under his leadership, the center has become a hub of cutting-edge research, postgraduate training, and regional collaboration in infectious diseases. Prof is passionate about building Africa's scientific capacity and integrating advanced technologies, including genomics and bioinformatics, into the health research. He has mentored numerous young scientists and continues to champion research excellence, industry engagement, and the application of innovation to solve Africa's most pressing health challenges. Welcome, Prof. So in you just addressing, also, I think you've heard the industry explaining, especially those from health, the technologies that are being developed. So how are you taking advantage of what is happening in the industry, especially biotech, as it relates in developing our talent and skills in Africa?
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. And good morning to you all. I want to start by sort of providing the context in which WACBIP, which is the center that I lead, has entered this space and come this far. What ACE did for us was that it gave us the opportunity to build local capacity to do basic science, fundamental science, which is what is required for R&D, for research and innovation. If you are talking about developing diagnostics, you're talking about developing drugs, vaccines, these stem from what we call discovery research. And in order to be able to do discovery research, you need the skills and the infrastructure to do fundamental science, which is to understand pathogens, to understand disease systems, to understand how our systems respond to diseases. That's the only way you can generate original knowledge that can then feed into industry to develop products. So prior to ACE, we were attempting to do some of these things on a small scale. But like Lord and others have mentioned, you need a significant capital investment in order to generate the capacity to do this type of research in a competitive way globally. So with the injection of funds that we got from ACE, we were able to establish an environment that supported this type of research, that was globally competitive, that was world-class, that was able to attract scientists who lived abroad to come back and work here. Yesterday, you heard about Yamachi. We have several people like Yao who came back to Africa, who came back to Ghana because of the environment that we've created at WAGBIP, that they believed they could practice their trade in that place. So that is very, significant about what the ACE has done. And I think we need to recognize that as we have these discussions. Now, how are we interfacing with industry? For us, we were presented with a challenge that for the type of work we do, we need biotech. We need biotech to work with us in training the young scientists to prepare them for industry. We needed biotech in order to take what we discover and take it forward. We needed industry as a source of revenue generation for sustainability. Now, the challenge is that industry is weak. In Ghana, biotech is very weak. We have only few biotech companies. And what Lord is doing, what Yao is doing, these are enormous efforts that they are putting into these things. I think that Lord hasn't talked about all the challenges that they face, with funding, with government policies that suffocate them, regulatory processes that make it impossible for them to make progress. There's almost as if there's a system that is blind to the needs of these types of organizations. And these are the types of organizations that we need in order to take the next step in biotech and innovation, okay? Because at the university, we can generate original knowledge, we can discover targets for vaccines, we can discover targets or biomarkers for diagnosis, we can discover new drug compounds, but you need funds and you need biotech to take that from an idea to a product. And so what we've been trying to do is to encourage and support, new startups. And, Yao is a great example of that. He has really taken off, and he's serving as a model for the rest of our young faculty and students and graduates to also follow. So we support, this type of bold initiatives to face the challenge and to take the the risk of trying something new and trying to fill this gap. Now, we have signed MOUs with several industries. Most of them are pharma, because that's what we have. We've had very good relationships with pharmaceutical companies, and we've been able to send some of our students for internships there. But the reality is that many of our pharmaceutical companies are really manufacturing companies. They do very little R&D. Lord is here with his very small company. He has an R&D unit, Many of our pharma companies do not have functional R&D units. They're just producing and selling, okay? And which is fine, you know, they're trying to survive and to make profit. But if we want to go to the next level, we need to have active R&D. I hear the regulations require all these companies to have R&D units. I don't think these are being enforced. I don't think there are incentives for companies to do R&D. I don't think there are any intentional efforts on the part of our governments to support R&D in industry. And we can talk about academia-industry partnerships all we want. If there is no intentional policies to promote the collaboration between academia and industry, it's not going to happen because industry is trying to pay their bills. They're trying to pay their bills, that's the first thing. And academia, whatever we do, we are trying to, you know, promote our own academic careers. There has to be an incentive for the two to work together. So, you know, we hope that African governments would start to think about intentional policies, you know, that promote investment into R&D, especially biotech, you know. Let's promote investment. Let's put tax policies that say, for example, for every biotech company, your first 10 years, no tax, you know, and your imports, any, you know, inputs that you import, zero tax. I mean, we need to do these things in order to move forward. Right now, Donald Trump says that all our goods will be taxed at whatever rate, which means we have to start thinking about how we can also make our own drugs and our own diagnostics and our own vaccines here. Okay? So let's, you know, let's be bold. Let's be bold and put in place measures that would transform the way we do science, that would promote R&D, that would catalyze innovation, and make us more competitive globally.
Thank you very much. I think, Prof, you really have hit the nail in some economies where the ecosystem is not very well established. Here we don't have the industry, the academia is doing its part, but then how do we make sure that industry also is strengthened and also so that they can then go back and support what is happening in academia. So thank you very much. With that, I will allow IBM to make a small presentation before I come now to the audience for any comments, any intervention, or any addition that you would want to make.
All right, thank you. And this is really a call to or invitation for collaboration. As I mentioned, you know, we have a lot of offering that we make available to academia at no charge. And the idea is to catalyze and to stimulate the advancement and the use of this artificial intelligence resources. And this cuts across centers that are focusing on different areas. I think, you know, there is opportunity to collaborate with you. Just to put in a nutshell, what we make available to you is on the capacity building component, as was being mentioned. You know, we give you access to learning resource that you can leverage to in your curricula. We give you access to computing resources. So, you know, faculty members, students, innovators, as they go about doing their research or their proof of concept, they do not need to bear the cost of compute. We also give access to data sets that can be utilized for this process. And you know, all of this comes at no charge. So this is primarily part of the offering that we make available to academia that I was referencing before. So if you wish to reach out, we're open for collaboration. Just, you know, my email is there and we can move forward to that. In terms of some of the key elements I just wanted to highlight in this, and this is for both faculty members and students. So a lot of the content is online and on demand. and it's, regardless of which, let's say, discipline you are in, whether you're in technology or non-technology, remember, AI is cuts across, and it's to be used to enhance this. It comes in form of online self-learning offering, but also with some institutions that wish to go further, we can provide opportunities where we could do more closer or more guided engagements. On the topic of artificial intelligence, just last week we were at a summit in Rwanda about the AI situation. We don't need to wait for the big investments to have huge data centers to run the AI. There are small language models that we could actually deploy locally in our institutions and begin leveraging on the capacity of this technology to solve our own challenges. So we make available through an open source framework. You can utilize a language model we call Granite, which you can actually utilize locally in your campuses and begin leveraging on this to start innovating and developing solutions for. So we've got this available to your institutions that you can, again, leverage on. On the scope of artificial intelligence, so, all the content around machine learning, large language models, and using this for data, working with data. And lastly, just to mention that, this content is made available free, it's flexible, it's modular, so you pick and choose what you wish and how you would like to deliver it in your institution. It comes backed with credentials and certificates, so if you wish to leverage on that, especially for supplemental learning, and I talk about the research and innovation, you also have the compute capacity that comes built in together with that. Sorry. To enhance this, for the hands-on, because like I mentioned, there's a huge premium placed on those with hands-on capabilities. So this is something that we are heavily focused on. So we provide a lot of online mentoring or demonstrations just to make sure that we can develop hands-on capacity on the artificial intelligence. And this is done by colleagues in IBM who will get involved in running some of these virtual events just to make sure that we provide a rich hands-on experience for our learners. Key differentiators, and I'll pause at this one. So all this comes back with recognized industry credentials. For the hands-on components, we are IBM, so we do make use of IBM technologies, but also using a lot of open source tools because we are looking at building the skill more than trying to sell a product for this. And then also involving a lot of our IBM colleagues to come in as industry mentors and guides to the work that we do. Thank you very much, and we're open to collaborate with all of you in this work.
Thank you very much. At this point, I want to thank all my experts, all the presenters. Maybe we give them a round of applause for their presentation. So for now, I'll take interventions, any comments, any questions, clarification. And to be fair, I'll get 3 from the first row, 3 the middle row, and 3 in the other row. So maybe I can see hands in the middle row. So I'll take one in front. The other one is here. The middle row, anyone in the middle row? So I only see 2 hands in the middle row, so we'll take the middle row. You can start.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the lessons and the experiences that have been shared by our panelists. I think that was quite, very good. I have a few comments to make with regard to research and innovation, seeing how the outputs could be transformed to transform the economic and the social landscape. Number one, if you think of our universities across Africa, the majority of them are so much focusing on knowledge generation, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, there's a lot of research that is happening, but the challenging point is that very little of that is translated to services and products that reach the public domain. Therefore, I would consider the centers of excellence as catchment areas to see how they can play a role of translating whatever research outputs are generated on the background and take that one to the public domain. I think there's a very big room if we focus on that. But number two, we have programs on, we call postdoctoral fellowships. I would really also see a huge opportunity that if our centers of excellence deploy this kind of a program on long term, think of 5 years, 7 years. If we have a good number of postdoctoral fellows and you are so well connected to the industry, that will give us a huge opportunity of learning the problems or challenges on the public side and seeing how that could be transformed to enter the public domain. Number three, and the last one, and this could be food for thought. If you look across our countries, there are innovators in the formal sector and the informal sector who happen to have their technologies developed to the point that they are market ready. And probably you see the potential of them being marketed internally and externally, but the challenge is them having the capital of going to mass production. I would really wish to have the opinions of the panelists and probably whoever else in this room that what must our governments do to ensure that innovations that have been developed domestically and they have strong potential internally and externally go to the mass production so that they help us increase the level of employment, but also help us invigorate the domestic growth and all that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You may just take points. You can make comments later. I will take the second. Yes.
Thank you very much. I also appreciate the presenter, the facilitator, as well as the discussants. University-industry partnership is very, very important, but there are questions usually which universities ask. They say in Africa, there are no industries where you attach your students. So given that there is scarcity of industry, what would you like to suggest universities should use to train their students practically? That is one question. And the second question which I want to ask is, okay, IBM is working with universities, and some universities are working with IBM, and I guess with there is industry too. I forgot that name. So, what benefit did you get from the universities as industry? Because, you know, industries must get kind of benefit from the universities, and the universities must get benefit from the industries. That is mutual benefit must be there. So what is the benefit that you got from the industry, which you want to share as a lesson for us, which we want to take home? And the universities, I know that you attach your students, that is okay, I know, I understand that. But besides attachment, internship, what kind of benefit did you get from the industries? I'm asking the universities, the centers, the benefits that you got from the industry and the universities, the industries from the university. And the other question is, what kind of legal document is there for you to work together? For example, if your experts are going to the university, for example, on what basis do they go to the universities and share their experiences from the industry? And if again, university people have to go to the industries on what basis? What legal process is there to support the attachment of students, the attachment of instructors, and again, experts from the industry to the universities? If there is any best experience which you want to share, I would like to hear that. The last question, last question is to IBM. IBM, in your presentation, you said that there are some courses which are available to selected universities. Which universities are these? Thank you. And
Thank you very much. So I'm done with the middle row. I will allow my panelists to just respond. And in response, please, let's keep our response very short, because I have 2 other rows that need to also get the clarification.
Thank you. So just to quickly react, maybe I go backwards on the questions. So on the courses to select institutions, these are institutions where we have some formal agreement, because when we offer those courses, which are much longer term, require students to access some learning management systems. There's exchange of data and IP. So these agreements would do that. A lot of the other material I shared is open to a lot of your institutions without any formal agreement, apart from just the registration that you do online. You accept those sort of statements, and once you accept that, that sort of forms the basis of the engagement between us. We do run the internship program, so we invite students who are looking for attachment opportunities. That's a formal contract that we do, so they become employees for the duration of their internship, and then that sort of covers any sort of legal agreement that you mentioned. In terms of the engagements we have with academic institutions, there are different types of agreements, from a simple one, like I was mentioning, for some of the courses that we make available, to even just the online agreements that you do as a learner to access some of learning resources. But when we get into, let's say, much more deeper engagements, you might have a joint study program agreement that you have between institutions that address a number of items to do with the time commitment of the individuals that are involved, if they are, for example, employed with the university and so on, and also the IP, the intellectual property that comes out of those kind of engagements. So there are different types of agreements based on the activity or the action that we're doing with the academic institution. To the question that was asked also before, what are the benefits, let's say, to a company like IBM? I think for us, because this is coming from our social investment program, we're not looking at the commercial. So all that we are sharing with you is we're not asking the university or the center to pay for any of this software or learning resources. What we are looking at is catalyzing that ecosystem with the right skills. I mean, someone can argue that, yes, eventually it will come back commercially, but that's not the intention. What we're looking to do is to build that capacity within the markets where we operate, whether that comes to IBM or to our ecosystem partners. That I think would be a good sort of spin-off coming out of that. A strategy that I think is becoming increasingly successful from my observation is the establishment of innovation hubs or incubation centers that I see a lot of institutions are beginning to set up. So these institutions these units have some level of autonomy. They enable the faculty members to spend time on the projects that come through that. It gives an opportunity for discovery of potential innovations that are coming from your students, from your faculty members. It allows for, let me call it, an easier point where external parties that would be key stakeholders can engage with that institution. So, here you've got people who can provide business development services for the product development. You've got organizations, companies like from private sector that can come and engage with the faculty members and the students that are doing that kind of work. Intellectual property, maybe lawyers and so on that can collaborate with this. So I see this as an easy route that academic institutions can then work with to, first of all, discover those innovations. I think it also gives the students a point where they can come in and promote. Just to give a little sharing, so in my previous life before joining IBM, one of my tasks was actually to establish this kind of unit within a university. And some of the learnings that I got from that was just having a separate entity, something that is visible that students and also the external audience can actually identify and go to. And then, developing a mindset where you could actually test things out. Many of them will fail, and that is okay, but that's part of the process. So just that kind of environment that allows that kind of thing. Because, frankly speaking, academic institutions have got a very rigid structure. I think something that looks slightly different from that setup of the institution, of the academic institution, that allows for this kind of activities, I think has better success for that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So I'll just quickly respond. The first question about benefits of industry or benefits to industry from academia. So there are quite a number of benefits that we derive when we collaborate with academia. First of all, there's a lot of credibility when you, for the industry partner when you collaborate with academia. For out there, once you're collaborating with a university, people sort of give you certain level of credibility, and so that is very important. For a biotech industry like ours, you need to recruit from the universities. So in collaborating with the university, you get to see the students, you get to work closely with the students, and you get to make an input into what kind of training that is being given to the students. And these students, once they finish, they come back to the industry, and then they come and work for the industry. And so, yes, that is also a way of benefiting from industry. One of the major things is also R&D. So the universities have a lot of products and a lot of research that they've done that is on the shelf. So when you collaborate with the industry, or you collaborate with the university, one of the things you do is being able to have some of these products that you can commercialize. Professor Wandari, when he was speaking, talked about R&D, the death of R&D in manufacturing. It is because R&D is extremely expensive. And most manufacturers want to manufacture and make money. And so investing in R&D, which costs millions of dollars, is very difficult. We are able to do that because I am in academia, and so I'm able to mix the academia with industry. And so the academia portion is where I do the R&D, and then the industry is where we do the manufacturing. But not everybody is able to do that. And so when you collaborate with academia, then you are able to have a direct pipeline in terms of academia does the R&D, and then industry benefits from it. And then also collaboration and research. Currently, there are quite a number of studies or research funding that is available that insists that you must have an industry partner. And so that collaboration helps to build the capacity of both the industry partner and academia, and that is one of the benefits we get. Now, one of the questions about no industry for students, and so how do we do that? First of all, there are quite a number of industries, except that there's a misfit between what is being trained and what the industry needs. And so that is one of the things that we need to do. Even in areas where there are no industries, one of the things you can do is to have incubators in the universities. So a lot of universities have business incubators where some of these students can go to and get trained. And I remember when students from the biomedical engineering unit of University of Ghana came all the way to Kumasi, where I am. That is about 4 or 5 hours. Currently with the roads, it's even 6 hours to come and spend a week learning how to develop a test kit for one of their projects. And I was very impressed that they took that initiative. So those kind of things are there. The final question was about what happens when You have people, even in the informal and formal sector, that have technologies that are ready to go to the market, but are not able to do that because of funding. The first thing is that there's no funding anywhere, and I think that we need to start inculcating that into the minds of young people. Sometimes you need a lot of family and friends support because government will not give you funding. It is, from where I sit, it is wishful thinking to think that once I have technology, government should support me with money. Government has too many things on its hand to think about helping us. So you need to think about that. One of the major things you can do is collaborate with those who are already in the market or those who are already there. Is it possible to sell the technology? Is it possible to license the technology? Is it possible to perhaps have a collaboration where there can be cost sharing and then revenue sharing? There are a lot of ways you can go about doing all of this. But as Africans, we've been trained to be very wary of people, very mistrustful of people. So the first thing you are thinking about is somebody who will steal the technology. So you keep the technology to your chest. And once you keep the technology to your chest, it doesn't get out there and nobody benefits from it. I think we need to start thinking about where these collaborations, and the legal regime must be strong so that you have documentation that shows that if I, as an established company, I'm taking a technology from you, I do not cheat you, but that legal regime is there. So these are some of the things we can do to get technologies out there without thinking about government giving us funding, because reality, it won't happen. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Since now we're running out of time, is there any question on this row? Any question? So I'll take that one question. And on the far end, is there any question? On this far end? I see none. So let me take the last question, then I'll ask Professor Charles and Professor Gordon to make their comments. You can go ahead.
Okay, good morning. My name is Wara Musura. I'm with the World Bank. My question is for you, Dr. Lord. At the start of your presentation, you were talking about a lot of the tests you've developed for iron deficiencies, diseases in rodents, but the one that struck me was the test for the carcinogenic coloring that's used in palm oil. And this is a product that's used in a lot of African cuisines. So my question is, there's value in working with the FDA to ensure that such products aren't on the market, but also working with consumers to ensure that they're making informed decisions when they're out there buying products. So where do you find more traction, working with policymakers or working with the consumers in trying to get these products out there? And how does that influence the way that you go about your testing, in the way that you design your products? I'm just curious about the impact of the tests in the market. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So there are two ways to answering this question. The first is that we actually do a lot of market surveys. So we could share with you several market surveys that we've done that have the potential customers have actually told us what they need, and then we produce what they need for them. So that is one of the ways we go about it. For the specific case of the Sudan 4 test, it was actually the FDA that suggested it. I had a meeting with the FDA on a separate thing, and then they were like, oh, there's this huge problem that we have been trying to solve. The major thing is that once you go and you take the palm oil and you bring it to the FDA to come and test, you find Sudan 4 in it. You go back to the market and the women have left. So you cannot, there's no way to track them and all of that. So is it possible to have a test like that? So I asked them, will you give us money? Then they laughed. But we actually thought about it and we realized that it was something that was really important and we could do. So we sought for funding, external funding. USAID helped us with a bit of funding. And we were able to develop that particular one. And once we developed it, we also did pre-testing. We gave 10 pieces each to people to just go to the market. And these are people who buy from these market women. And it is the results is very, very scary. If I show you Greater Accra, we took 10 markets in Greater Accra, 10 markets in Ashanti region. And if you could see the number that had these Sudan 4 carcinogens, you would not buy from some of these markets. And so we use these two things where we talk to the customers and we also talk to the policymakers, and it's served us very well so far. It's given us a lot of money, let me put it that way, because when you develop the test, you have a lot of people who are interested in the test and they want to buy it because you had a discussion with them in the first place. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I'll ask Professor Charles to just make a comment on the 3 questions, and then I'll give it to Professor.
Yeah, thank you. Just to make a few comments. One, yeah, research and innovation is very important, and we'll have practical solutions when the collaboration between universities and industries are very well elaborated. And yeah, we normally have the MOUs specifying the benefit for each university or the industry, and the remaining will be the implementation. Yeah, with this MOU, we have the benefits. Sometimes it's not sharing the money or what, but each institution have the mandate. Yeah, the collaboration will help university to achieve its mandate. The same for the industry. Yeah, the second part of the comment I want to give was the postdoctoral program. Yeah, those are very important for research and innovation. And that will need more support from different stakeholders, mainly the government and others, because they will be there available for research and which will lead to the innovation. And with the collaboration with the industry, the university will not be limited to the knowledge generation, because we have that collaboration with the industry. So those are some of the comments on the questions. Thank you.
Professor Gordon.
Well, I believe all the questions have been effectively answered. So I would just go back to the big picture and say that for us in the health research sector, we believe that what the ACE has done is to create a large pool of talented young scientists. We need to create opportunities for them outside academia. And we think that biotech, is where we can harness the skills of all these people. I believe that government needs to be intentional in, promoting investment in biotech. If you look in most of the developed countries, when they talk about funding for R&D, it is not government funding. Most of the money that goes into R&D is actually from private sector. But you have to create the enabling environment for people to invest and make profit, which they can reinvest in R&D. And, we are not saying government should provide all the money for R&D, but government has to have intentional policies to promote investment in R&D, which will then pay for itself. It will pay for itself in jobs that it will create, in revenue that it will bring in from innovations. It will pay for itself, and it will be a catalyst for the entire economy. So I think we, as an ACE community, we need to look at that next step in harnessing the skills of all the young scientists that we have trained and creating opportunities for, the step change that we need in our economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your comments and your presentation. Members, we can see from our panelists and our discussion that academia needs industry, whilst industry also needs academia. It's something that we can't run away. For us to develop this highly skilled workforce, where then Africa becomes very competitive. We have seen how industry can contribute in curriculum reviews, in the development, in attachment, but at the same time, we also have seen that academia on the other side needs to create environments where this private sector then can find their space, at the same time make their profits that they need to make. So thank you very much. We've come to the end of our session. I wish to thank all the panelists for their eloquent, efficient way in the way we have discussed this topic. And I hope the audience has taken a lot, and as we go back, we may implement a few things that we have been able to hear from the panelists. I am Jane Mubanga Chinkusu. I was introduced as Director Science. I'm former Director Science and Technology, but a very interested person in the space of science, technology, and innovation. So thank you very much, and all the best.